practice and walkthrough, and so all right, check.
Who's the next man up after Newsom?
Well, it would be Tyson. He just put boots on the ground. Yeah, he's a veteran player. We've got players ready in less time than that. We sort of, we have our intricacies and we have a few things that we do uniquely, but we also do a lot of things that he's done in the past. Late last night, watched some film of him, and it's just a matter of him getting terminology down, and he'll lean on the safeties and the nickels to communicate to him. And then if we need to, we're excited about Dom Jones also. Dom is sort of, he's leaped every hurdle we've put in front of him since he was an undrafted player. He played well in practice. He played well against Carolina in the practices. Played well in the preseason games. He's big. He's strong. He plays square and he plays physical. All things that we like. So, we'll see where it is with Tyson. I haven't even met him yet. He just put boots on the ground after getting his physical. So we'll see where it is and have a good plan for Sunday, whoever it is. But it would be one of those two guys.
When you watched the film, what did you see in Tyson that you liked?
Yeah, well, it was after the fact. It wasn't. I mean, that's Kevin and AB's thing, and I would say this: we're really going to miss Greg. Such a good guy. You guys know him. Great locker room guy. Great worker. Great pro. Productive player. Always a positive attitude. Brought a lot of energy. So we're certainly going to miss him. So our excitement of Tyson doesn't diminish. It in no way diminishes, what we felt about Greg. But Tyson's got size. He's got excellent straight line speed, timed well, and he has track experience. I mean, the guy's a former 100-meter and 200-meter state champ in the state of Florida, which will get your attention. He's a physical player. He's a good tackler. I'd have to say he probably wasn't a great fit for their scheme change. And he's probably, a little bit more of a scheme fit for us. He's a good press cover guy, challenges guys on the outside part of the field. Anytime you get a change in head coach, defense coordinator, GM, sometimes the decisions and things that they liked about a player's skill set in the previous regime might not fit, and I think it was that opportunity here. I can't speak for AB or Kevin. I know I'm up here, but they can go into the rational. We're excited about having a good player and a guy that's been productive in the NFL, and we'll try to get him up as quick as we can.
How much does Denzel play a role in that? Being kind of the leader of that cornerback room. How much helping get Tyson up to that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be on Denzel's plate to do that. I mean, it's more just into the culture of the room and things like that. That'll go, but coaches will get him up and up to speed on things, and then like in practice in the games, a lot of the communication comes from from safety to corner. So we can keep him ahead of problems that way, and for probably today and maybe a little bit of tomorrow, he's going to be probably putting things in old terms. And then we'll see how quickly he can just get it in our terms and be able to go. But like I said, we've gotten players ready to play in less time. I mean, there's been some times in preseason games you get guys like 2 hours before a game, I think, and, you get them out there and go. So, we'll see where that is. But we certainly have high expectations.
Done this for a long time, but is there still a shock factor when something like this happens, especially after the first practice of the week?
I don't know. I mean, timing probably isn't ideal, but I mean that's just the way things are. No different than an injury. I mean, a lot of times you get your first practice of the week, and maybe you lose a guy on Wednesday, and you got to shift gears, and you got to get somebody maybe you weren't ready to play with, or in the game plan ready to play. So, whether it's a situation like this or an injury situation or anything else, I mean, that's just what our job is, and we'll do the best we can as quickly as we can. I'm optimistic.
Play as much man in Jacksonville as you do here?
Well, I can't say this year, not as much. Their scheme was a little bit different, but I think in the past he has. And I like his physical skills on the outside part of the field. He does a good job playing the ball. He's got really good size. He's got catch-up speed, and he's a good press. He's a good press corner, and there's a lot of things. Like I said, there's a lot of things to like from that skill set.
Final drive and the Addison touchdown. I know Denzel talked about needing to do something different there, took responsibility for it or whatever. But what kind of did you see, and as you break down the film and everything, that drive as a whole? Yeah,
I mean, I don't think I've been able to keep any food down since we gave up that touchdown. And when you get the lead in the fourth quarter, hallmark of a great defense is you close the game out, and we failed in that regard. A couple years ago, we had one against Seattle. You don't have many of them, but they stick with you. They stick with you, for a lifetime. Probably remember every single time that you've given up on. And the thing that's different in that Seattle game, that was after interception, and they had the ball like right around midfield and close to scoring range. The thing that was most disappointing about this is that we had some cushion to work with, and through different things, we had a couple missed tackles in there. We had I don't know, it's just some poor execution of some things, and we gave up a couple plays that we shouldn't have put them in scoring range, and then all of a sudden we were on our heels. And we just needed one play. We needed a sack, a tip ball interception, a third down stop. Just needed one play, and we just failed to get it done. And we certainly take that we take that responsibility on us. It's up to us to close games out. 1-point lead, 3-point lead, whatever it is, fourth quarter, and we're responsible for that. No excuses.
Aaron Rodgers a lot over your career, especially in Detroit. Kind of what are you most looking forward to with this next chapter of a matchup against Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, he's one of the great quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. There's a lot of unique things. I mentioned the hard count. He was one of the OGs. Hard count. Everybody used to try to hard count to get guys off sides to get 5 yards, and he was one of the first ones to build in, taking deep shots off of it. And we really got to be hyper alert for that and trying to sub and catching 12 guys on the field, because he's going downtown with those things and has made a lot of plays over the course of his career doing that. So, up front, we can't put stress on our secondary, just giving him free shots with deep passes by being offside. So that's been a big point of emphasis for what he does. And he's got great arm talent, but it doesn't always look the way that, other people. There's, classic throwers and things like that. He's just got such a loose arm. He can throw from 6 million different angles. He's extremely accurate. He's been an outstanding quarterback, been a Super Bowl winner. We certainly have a lot of respect for him, and we're going to have to play our best. He's putting the ball in positions that his guys can make plays, right? So you're a point guard, and you're getting the guys the ball, and they're open, and they're hitting layups, and they're wide open jumpers and things like that. Well, that's the way he's playing quarterback. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 70% of their passing yards is run after the catch, and it's like, that's a ridiculously high number. But that's that's a tribute to him. Number one, he's throwing accurate passes that allow them to run after the catch, and just knowing where to go, and just put the ball in your playmaker's hands. Anytime a ball is in a playmaker's hands, it's a good play, and he uses all the guys. He's got running back Warren that's averaging almost 13 yards a catch. I mean, there's a lot of wide receivers that would be really, really happy with 13 yards a catch. That's a running back. And he also has some play extension ability. And he's always made some big plays down the field on play extension. So, we're gonna have to cover the whole field, and we're gonna have to play really well. We're gonna have to be able to pressure up front. We're gonna have to cover in the back end. It's gonna take our best effort.
The scout team quarterback, pretty important this week with that hard count practice, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly drilling it, but there's nothing like, the real thing. When there's 300-pounders 6 inches from your nose, and it's 3rd down and 1, or it's the game situation, and there's a million calls and things like that. We just got to carry it over from this to the next, and our scouting quarterbacks have done a good job of doing that stuff. And it's not just them; it's the offensive linemen. There's a lot of coordinated type movement. Guys like abruptly moving their heads or flashing their hands and things like that. We just got to zone all that stuff out because, again, it's not a 5-yard penalty the way that they play it. It's a chance to make a 40-yard gain or a 50-yard gain. And, it's obviously it's been a big point of emphasis. Anytime you play a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, it is.
Would you say Greg was off to this year? It looked like he was playing really well, kind of rejuvenated back there as the starter.
Yeah, Greg's been a good quality player for us. He's covered well on the outside part of the field. I thought he improved his tackling and his physical play. Like I said, he always brought a lot of energy, and his relentless positive attitude was a big thing for us. And we certainly wish him the best. I'll always be a fan of Greg Newsome. So we wish him the best in Jacksonville, but, we're moving on. We'll get Tyson up to speed as quick as we can, and we're looking forward to having another good player on defense with Tyson.
On that trick play for the touchdown, how disappointing, and what did you see go wrong there that you shouldn't let?
Yeah, we're in man-to-man, and it's hard, but it's our job to keep our eyes on our coverage when you're getting run action. It's no different than a play action. And we were so, I'm trying to think of a euphemistic word, we were so eager to go make a play and tackle that we lost our eyes and gave that up. It's kind of not necessarily in a wildcat type play, but there's halfback toss passes, there's reverse passes, there's a million times like that, and it just really tests your ability to keep eyes on one thing as opposed to the other. I think one of the things that happened on the last drive too. You guys know me. I always try to guard against when you guys get up in arms about no turnovers, and I try to say look, we have to worry about playing hard, playing physical, playing with effort, and doing our job, and the turnovers will come. There were a few times in this game, including on that last drive, that we had guys trying to make a play, and, it's human nature. The game's on the line. They're trying to make a play. They're trying to do something to help the defense. But you can also put your defense in peril when you do that, and we paid a severe price for that, giving up that touchdown. And, we certainly have respect for them. They had, the week before, had put up about 400 yards on Pittsburgh and played well. It wasn't like we took them lightly. We knew that they were a talented group. And other than that play in the last drive, we did a pretty good job of holding them down and keeping that game into balance. But we just have to finish that game. You're going to get plays in the game where you don't play your best, and like that play, you got a lot of time to overcome that. When it's the last drive of the game, you don't have time to make it right. You don't get second chances, and that's the heavy penalty that we paid, or heavy cost that we paid, or heavy price that we paid, and we didn't do our job to finish the game.
Very quickly, Aaron does that too.
Yeah.
So what's the antidote today? Does that put the pressure on the secondary to cover?
Yeah, cover quicker, cover longer. There's things, but so did Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow threw the ball extremely quick. Like you said, Aaron Rodgers, I think he might have the quickest time to throw in the whole NFL right this point, and a lot of them are short targets. So you just have to cover your short zones, your short man-to-man really well, and try to buy a little bit of time, cloud the picture up a little bit, close some windows. We were very effective going against Burrow doing that. So it's gonna take a lot of the same kind of effort to combat that and buy some time for our pass rush to get home. All right.